Here with me exclusively is DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and ICE Deputy Director Madison Sheahan. Both, thank you very much for both being here. I know you're very busy. Madam Secretary, let's start with you. This must be frustrating to you to no end that the streets of the United States are safer, yet you have those scenes in New Orleans of protesters, I'm sure they're all paid, making the lives of ICE agents more difficult by the day.
Yeah, these ICE agents have just done God's work since President Trump has come into office, and they've arrested literally thousands of terrorists and removed them from our country. And these are terrorists that are affiliated with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hamas. They're also affiliated with MS-13, TDA. In New Orleans there, when you're looking at those protesters, many of those protesters we've seen in other places and locations in our country. It's coordinated, it's well-funded by the left, and it's something that they're doing to try to break this country. I'm just proud of President Trump that he has the tenacity to make sure that he's fighting for America's families.
And Madison, we knew that this is how this was going to go. They would make scapegoats out of ICE and, of course, attack Trump and Secretary Noem. And yet they would elevate the cause of some of the individuals who've been deported, people who might not have a criminal record, but who are here illegally, who overstayed their visas. Those become the immigration sob stories of the day. They use those examples, student deported back to Honduras. They use those examples to say, you see, they're after all of you. How do you respond to that narrative tonight? Because that has been driving the left for the last several weeks.
Well, look, the men and women of ICE go out and enforce the law. We don't pick winners and losers. We enforce the law that's on the books. Secretary Noem has allowed us to go out and do our jobs every single day. And if you've come into this country illegally, you have broken the law. And the men and women of ICE are going to remove you. And that's exactly what we're doing. And most of the people that we remove are criminals. They're murderers, they're gang members, they're rapists, and we're making the streets safer because of that.
Well, the people voted for mass deportation. People voted for people to be removed from the United States, but they're trying to change that dynamic now, and it's all for the media and the Democrats' benefit. Now, Democrats are doing everything they can to paint ICE as the villains. Watch this.
Since taking office, Trump has declared war on our communities. Masked ICE and CBP thugs, and I call them thugs because they don't identify themselves. They've detained parents on their way to work. They've kidnapped U.S. citizens. They've tear-gassed people.
Madam Secretary, I believe those comments are actually beyond irresponsible. They're borderline illegal because those are effectively endangering the lives of the ICE agents on the streets, are they not? I mean, those are they have targets on their back because of those comments.
Absolutely, they're blatant lies. And then to have elected officials doing that and to portraying ICE officers that way is really unprecedented in this country. It's history-making and the disrespect, but also the violence that it's perpetuated against these law enforcement officers. I want everybody to remember, these ICE officers live in these communities they work. So they're out there facing 8,000% increase in violence against themselves.
Many of them are Hispanic and African American.
Yes, and we've got law enforcement officers that are out there endangering their lives to help protect their communities and their country. And then you've got elected officials that are encouraging it. In fact, some of them are even doing it themselves, Laura. If you remember, some of these congressmen have been out there laying their hands on our law enforcement officers and
I mean, I think there has to be accountability here. If there's not accountability, this will continue to happen, and lives will be lost. We've already had incidents where agents were shot at. But, Madison, you said that your office said that Rahmanullah, that Afghan refugee that was charged with a National Guard shooting, was radicalized here in the United States. What can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So what we've found through the Biden administration's policies of allowing allies welcome to come into this country, over 190,000.
I thought it was 120,000. Now it's 190,000? Is this chain migration with all the extended family also coming in?
They let everybody into this country, and none of them were vetted. And now Secretary Noem and ICE are trying to clean this up. And President Trump has allowed us to do that, to be able to go in and fix these problems. And this is just another example of somebody who hates America, that comes to this country as a terrorist. And we shouldn't be letting people into this country that hate this country. Americans pride themselves on their values and hard work and all of the things that we stand for as Americans every single day. And that's what these people should, if you want to live in this country and come to this country, you should stand for those same things.
Secretary Noem, what was the reason you think that so many Republicans favored bringing in all these Afghan refugees. I mean, I remember battling with our favorite friends up on the Hill. But, oh, we promised them. I looked around, I said, I didn't promise them anything.
Yeah.
I mean, now we have 100,000 interpreters? I mean, this is just nonsense. But people were, this was like forced down the throats of the American public. I don't think anyone wanted this.
Yeah, no, I think that what happened is so many of them were hearing stories of people that were protecting our patriots, our men and women who are serving in our military and wanted to be advocates for their friends. But what I would say is, Laura, when we had these individuals come in, not only that did we have these 120,000, 200,000 different individuals that came in through this program, we also have 1.5 million people that were backlogged in the asylum cases that Joe Biden administration had facilitated in. So if you look at 1.5 million people that they had allowed to apply for asylum, that they'd never vetted, that were backlogged, even if people had wanted to come and claim asylum credibly, they couldn't because the Biden administration was just allowing people to come here and allowing them a free-for-all at the United States and our territories in our country, and then they weren't vetting them and backlogging their cases. 19
countries are now on this travel ban. He had another travel ban that was overturned by the Supreme Court in the beginning of Trump 1, as you remember. That had to be tweaked a couple of different times. Now, will we hear this is perhaps expanding to 32 countries? Can you confirm that, and could you tell us which are some of the countries they're adding to that list?
I won't be specific on the number, but it's over 30. And the president is continuing to evaluate countries. Listen, if they don't have a stable government there, if they don't have a country that can sustain itself and tell us who those individuals are and help us vet them, why should we allow people from that country to come here to the United States?
Madison, do you find that the ICE agents, the men and women of ICE who are working day in and day out to carry out the president's mission that he ran on, laws that were passed by this Congress on Capitol Hill, are they demoralized or are they energized?
I think they're energized. What we've seen, and we've got the numbers to prove it, we have a recruitment campaign for new ICE officers going on right now. Over 200,000 people have come and said they're going to sign up and be a part of ICE. As the Secretary said in the cabinet meeting this week, we're almost to the point where we've hired 10,000 new officers. That's 10,000 people who've chosen to defend this homeland, to go out and protect the American.
Make sure you're vetting them. Make sure those are the good people. You said something about the this issue at the cabinet meeting with a lot of the visas, I believe, of the Afghan refugees that are in the United States are illegitimate. I believe you referenced that.
It's not specific to a specific country. We're evaluating all of them, but in Minnesota, we have a large Somali population.
Oh, sorry, excuse me, Somali. I didn't mean that.
No, the Somalian population, we're seeing almost 50% fraud in their visa applications, which means they came into this country on false pretenses, false applications. They maybe married somebody that was their brother that they wanted to get into this country. And we're going back and looking at all those. We're looking at every single visa, every single asylum claim and case, even if they were granted it. If it was given out during the Biden administration, we're going to look at it. And if it is fraud, Laura, we're going to remove those people from our country.
Everyone wants to know about Catahoula Crunch. I spent a lot of time in New Orleans. I have a lot of friends there. They're very happy, my friends, that ICE is there. Who are some of the criminal illegals that you've gotten off the streets there?
Gosh, just today we got a murderer arrested that was convicted and picked him up off the street. We've gotten several pedophiles, child sexual assault perpetuators this week already. Just in the last couple of days, dozens of individuals that were violent criminals that were released out onto those streets, and we've picked them up and we're going to bring them to justice.
Well, we need more, and you're doing it as fast as you can, and it can't be fast enough for the Ingraham Angle, I can tell you that. We want to thank the men and women of ICE, and thank you both for coming in tonight. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.